want to help you to understand, accept, and really enjoy remembering that you are more than the physical body that you know as you, that there is another part of you that is viable and alive and vibrational. We want you to understand that you have the glorious experience of sifting through variety for the purpose of coming to new conclusions about how your life would be better. And when that happens, whether you're consciously aware of it or not, you then have the option of aligning with what you're asking for, or of continuing to align with the reason that you ask. If you ask for an improved condition, but you keep beating the drum of the reason that you want the improved condition, you hold yourself vibrationally apart from what you've asked for. So we've been talking to you for a while, and some of you have been listening to us for a while about this powerful law of attraction, which in very simple terms says, you get what you think about. Law of attraction says that which is likened to itself vibrationally is drawn to it. It's like radio signals. When you set your tuner at 98.7 FM, you hear from that broadcasting station. You don't hear from another broadcasting station. So when you set your tuner at I'm in a bad mood because this bad thing has happened, you've set a tuner that makes it only possible for law of attraction to yield to you things that match that. So we've then been explaining to you that that's not a bad thing, because knowing what you don't want causes you to know what you do want. An equivalent bounce to that wave then occurs. In other words, when you really know what you don't want, you really know what you do want. But the thing that we want to remind you of is when you really know what you don't want and really know what you don't want, and therefore there is a part of you that now really knows what you do want, if you've been beating the drum of really knowing what you don't want, you've trained yourself into that frequency, and it's not easy for you to let go of it and begin thinking about what you do want. But the larger part of you is only thinking about what you do want. So why are we talking to you? Well, you've summoned us, but what's this all about? What is this knowledge that we are helping you to remember or find resonance with? What's its value to you? Why is it of advantage for you to understand that you are the creator of your own reality? Why is it of advantage for you to recognize that there are two vibrational aspects of you going on in every moment that you are focused in this physical body? Why is it important for you to know that these two aspects exist and that there is an emotional bond between them that lets you know how aligned you are with what you have created and its furthest extension, or how resistant you are to it? So you can't hold your expansion back. It's a byproduct of life. You cannot hold your expansion back, but you can lazily or sloppily tune yourself out of alignment with that. And when you do, you feel crummy. When you do, you get sick. When you do, you don't like life. When you do, you feel fear, you feel hate, you feel anger. You feel all of those things that are just emotional indicators or physical manifestational indicators of thinking by default, really. Just thinking because it's in front of you. It'd be like sitting in front of your television and there's a program on and someone comes in and says, "What is it?" And you say, "I don't know, but it's really miserable." And they say, "Why don't you change the channel?" And you say, "What?" I never change the channel. I just come into the room and I sit down and I watch what's there. And then I comment on it. Just letting you know, this particular thing is really awful. You read the front page of the newspaper and you have a knee-jerk response to it. You watch CNN and you have a knee-jerk response to it. And your kids call or your neighbors do something and you just look around and you respond. You just observe and respond and observe and respond and observe and respond. The good news is, every time you observe and respond, you launch a rocket of improvement. But if you don't do something about then tuning yourself to the improvement, then what happens is your life gets away from you. That's why the longer people live in their bodies, the ornerier and the sicker they usually get. Because life kept causing them to expand, but they didn't go. They just kept watching the same channel. So this art of allowing workshop, this is about the art of allowing what? The art of allowing me in my physical human body, with my physical mind, with my physical ability to focus, is about me using my ability to focus myself into alignment with the furthest that I have become. And that is where true satisfaction comes from. Moment to moment to moment satisfaction. Nothing is more delicious than to explore life and know what you don't want and know what you do want, and then recognize that you've expanded. You can tell because you feel uneasy. You've expanded to a new place, but you've got chronic habits of thought that aren't letting you go there. What we want to introduce to you in a way that you can really feel it, and in a way that we would like very much if it evokes a new decision within you, we want you to be on the quest for the path of least resistance. And we want you to understand that the path of least resistance is this viable, magnificent path because the source within you has already carved it out. All of these rockets of desires that you put over here into this vortex of creation have put a powerful, powerful point of attraction into motion where all cooperative components have been assembled. So the question that this workshop asks of you and will help you answer is, are you a cooperative component of your own creation? We want you to get it. You are the creator of you. You have created a prosperous, healthy, vital, alive, good feeling, good timing, very exhilarated version of you into your vortex of creation. And you've got to find ways of focusing yourself into alignment with that before you can, in this moment, in real time, experience the true version of who you are. You are not meant to be fragmented beings. You are meant to see your life through the eyes of Source. You're meant to understand your world from the viewpoint of Source.
It's nice to be here again. What you're talking about today is very much resonating with the questions I've been having. And I'll say that I have been studying your teachings since y'all were just on cassette tapes. And so it's been a while.
That far back.
I'm probably a slow learner. And I grasp the concept of vibrational escrow and the stream, upstream and downstream, and letting go of the paddles. That always made a lot of sense to me. However, what I've noticed is that I have a situation where I'll call her my goddaughter or whatever. I have a little 4-year-old girl in my life who's been in my life for a couple of years. I remember back in the 90s, I had a second wife at that time, and I had the idea that I have children who are in their 30s now. I had the idea that it would be a good idea to have an opportunity to be a better parent than I was, because I didn't know much when I was in my 20s.
Then you were the best parent.
Kids were little. Well, I was the best parent I could have been at that time.
The less you know,
however,
the less involved you are, the better parent you are.
The idea to have another opportunity was something. So that was a desire I had, and that was something that I placed in vibrational escrow, and it took 15 years to occur. So I noticed that I seem to have a long time. I sat up here before and asked you about, told you about work that I did that I didn't get a lot of satisfaction in, and I wanted to do something else. And you said, learn to really enjoy what you're doing, and then what's next will show up quicker. Well, I have learned, I've learned to get a lot of satisfaction out of the work I do, and yet I noticed what's next has not shown up yet. So I'm still curious about that.
Well, that's because you are doing some of both. In other words, even in this conversation, and we certainly understand how tempting it is to describe what is going on. It is our desire today to convince you so completely in the reality of this vibrational reality that you will see it as we do, as present tense. But you cannot make this now reality, this vibrational reality, feel completely like present tense until you spend more time deliberately in the vortex, coming into alignment with the feelings. And what keeps you from being willing to do that is that there's so much to see and hear and smell and taste and touch that sort of tempts you into giving it your attention, that it's not as vivid, it's not as real, it's not as colorful. It's just not as colorful to find a feeling in the vortex. You like the drama of real life. And so even when you think that you are in the vortex and thinking about what you want, and we agree that you've been doing it a higher percentage of the time, still you spend much more time out there observing what is than you do in here feeling the fullness of what has become vibrationally. Every physical human that we ever visit with, Jerry and Esther included, as much as they've heard, they've been listening since the cassettes too. The now reality is compelling. It's just so vivid. And to close your eyes and feel your way into an emotional state just isn't that satisfying. But what we want to do is to give you enough processes that you train yourself into vibrational alignment with what's in the vortex, that then you can step back into the physical manifested reality world and maintain the vibration that you trained yourself while you're in the vortex. We want you to understand that every effort that you make in an attitude of trying to fix something that is broken just holds you in that vibration of resistance longer. So everything that we've been telling you for all of those many years has been toward the beneficial experience for you to find yourself in your vortex where there is no resistance, and then practice the vibration of that. We would like to say expressly to you that any work that you do, or nearly any work that you do from outside the vortex, while it can improve your vibration to some degree, once you reach the place of understanding that you've come to, if you can accept the reality of the two vibrational aspects of you, and you can recognize that when you have those moments of high-flying good feeling, that means there's no resistance and you're in the vortex. And then from that vantage point, you can do your affirming. The whole process of deliberate creation hinges on this one small understanding and this one small action. Training my frequency. Training my frequency, which means ignoring reality, because everything I observe activates a frequency. So if I look at not enough money, I've activated the frequency, and you can't activate a frequency without training yourself. So training my frequency into what? Training my frequency to match what's going on over here. So the vortex takes you in many times in every day, really. You hear music that makes your heart skip a beat a little bit, or you feel like moving to the music a little bit, or for Esther, it's always when she first gets out on the highway, the open road just makes her heart sing. In other words, you have those thoughts that still are pure enough that every now and again, you just sort of stumble blindly into the vortex. You do. We know you do, and you know you do too. And what we're suggesting is, if you will just keep an ear to the ground, so to speak, and recognize that you're in there, and then do your affirming from in the vortex, it feels so much different. In other words, I can set my own standards for financial well-being. I can have anything that I want. I even want to read the other side of that. What? The physical me is the materialized me. In other words, my what is need not influence my what is becoming. From inside the vortex, this stuff makes perfect sense. From inside the vortex, you never want to put it down. You want to look at the pretty pictures. You want to take in the colors. You want to understand it fully. This makes sense. What does it mean? How can I know more? Your eagerness just comes over you. You find yourself then inside the vortex just becoming it. And so what we're saying to you is, get in the vortex any way you can and milk it, milk it, milk it, milk it. And you will shift your vibration enough that change must come to you. It has to.